You are Locked On A's, your daily Oakland A's podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well. Hopefully the turkey will treat you good. It's Thanksgiving and nice to have you here. It's another episode of Locked On A's, and thank you for making us your first listen every day. Remember, we're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, of course. All part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hello there. I'm Wayne Coy, your host, A's fan for my entire life, and media dude for a lot of years. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. It's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and you can get started. So what do you do on Thanksgiving? You take the day off? Well, you could, I guess, but I thought it would be better to do something else. And that would be an opportunity to tell you the things that, as an A's fan, I am thankful for. And maybe you are too. You probably got your own list, but I certainly want to share mine with you. So we'll do this in countdown fashion. Hang on. Is it too early to drink eggnog? I'm into it already. Okay, number 10 on the list of things that I'm thankful for as an A's fan is the fact that we're fans of a team that actually has over the course of its history, a winning record. Yeah, we win more games than we lose. And ask the Chicago Cubs fans or the White Sox fans how it feels to have a team that you root for. And no matter what you do year after year, it seems like you can never, ever get it together. Well, that's not obviously the case with the A's. And although the last couple of years have been pretty bad, you got back-to-back 100-loss seasons. I still think that, because of our history and because of our talent, that our compass is pointing north right now. And that's because we've got some promise on the roster. It's hard not to get excited about a full season of Zach Geloff or Brent Rooker. Well, we had one last year and he was an all-star. Shea Langoliers, Lawrence Butler, Esty Ruiz, and yeah, even Tyler Soderstrom, Darrell Hernandez down in Vegas, minor league player of the organization of the year, and Ryan Noda, our first baseman. Those are all players who have shown a ton of potential, although it's been in a very limited sample size for some of them. You can see it. Same thing with our young pitching staff, especially I like the upside of J.P. Sears and of Mason Miller and Joe Boyle and Luis Medina. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, there's some talent there. And let's see if we can put it all together, and maybe considering our one-loss record over the years, you know what? We might have something to be thankful for and appreciate on the field with the A's this coming season. Number 9 of things I'm thankful for, Thanksgiving time and all the time really, would be Oakland A's play-by-play guy, Ken Korak. Yeah, Ken is a treasure. One of the most unique voices in all of baseball. He's been calling the A's games all the way back since 1995. He was Bill King's partner and certainly his pupil. And Ken has developed a style, unlike Bill, it's different, that's for sure, but it's his own. And it's just awesome to hear Ken call a game. 28 years with the A's, and just what a career. Channeling that excitement on the field, painting the pictures with the words like nobody else. His broadcasts are classic, what I call theater of the mind, weaving the narrative with substance. It's not easy to do, and he's great at it. He's a member of the Bay Area Radio Hall of Fame, and you know what? He just might be joining his mentor. Bill King's there in the library, and maybe, just maybe, yeah, Ken could be there too. One of 10 finalists for the 2024 Ford C. Frick Award, and rightfully so. Ken Korak, I'm thankful for you at number 9. Number 8 of things I'm thankful for as an A's fan, garlic fries. I'm just kidding. Well, sort of. They are pretty good. Actually, the number 8 thing that I'm thankful for is what I like to call nobody does it better combo of two people who seriously are the best in baseball when it comes to what they do. But you probably don't know their names, and you probably or likely haven't seen them before. First up is A's traveling secretary Mickey Morabito. Now, Mickey came to Oakland from the Yankees, along with Billy Martin, all the way back in 1980. And he's far and away MLB's longest-serving director of travel by a lot, like by 15 years, the next closest to him. Why has he been around so long? And what makes him so special? Well, there's no one better at getting a team from point A to point B in any sport, anywhere on the planet. And if there was ever a traveling Secretary Hall of Fame, Morabito would be the initial inductee. Planes, trains, and automobiles, well, that might be a movie that you're watching this Thanksgiving. We did. But it's also Mickey Morabito's money shot, along with buses and trams and limos and boats. And, well, actually, not sure he's ever had to deal with a boat. But if he did, I think he'd make it all happen, like clockwork. Zero panic. The guy's got ice water in his veins, killer sense of humor. Players love him. Simply the best. Now, sharing the slot with Mickey is another Coliseum veteran who, like Morabito, does his job better than anybody in MLB, and that would be Clay Wood. Clay is the head groundskeeper, and he has been since 1995. Been in charge of the crews that keep the Oakland Coliseum field in such great shape, and it's regarded as the best in baseball and has been for years. Now, Clay's work with the A's started all the way back in Scottsdale, Arizona, working on the spring training fields. And then he got the call to Oakland because he impressed the A's front office with what he did at spring training. And what made Clay's job even crazier and definitely more challenging upon his arrival was the fact that he had to learn how to convert a baseball field to a football field and then back again, and then do it every year, starting in August, because the Raiders were there, right? So with the Raiders relocating at the same exact time that Clay arrived, he had to figure it out. He was in charge of putting together a system to make that effort smoother and more efficient than it had been back in the old days. No easy task. Working up against a really tight deadline, having to move pitchers' mounds off and then back onto a field, not to mention repairing the playing surface. Football players kind of have a habit of destroying the field. Well, it does happen, and he just makes it look wonderful. Now, of course, the Raiders have moved on, and I'm sure that's making Clay pretty happy. He could just focus on baseball. In his incredible run, which is just shy of 30 years in Oakland, Clay has set the standard for all who do the same job he does all around the league. He's number 8. At number 7 on my list of things that I'm thankful for as an Oakland A's fan isn't so much a thing as it is a who. Rickey Henderson. Now, there's a reason that the A's play their games on a field that's named after Rickey, because he personifies Oakland and the East Bay. And he wasted no time, making his mark with the green and gold in 1979, debuting in a year that just wasn't so great, 54 and 108. That was the final record. But Rickey had a taste of the big leagues, and then, after that hint, came back and really turned it on. 33 stolen bases there in that first year in just 89 games. 1980, though, that was the coming out party. The Oakland Tech grad started up and never looked back, and he would go on to be the greatest leadoff hitter that the game has ever seen. I mean, bar none. Coinciding, by the way, with Charlie Finley's sale of the team to the local heroes, the Haas family, and, of course, the arrival of Billy Martin. And there's that guy, Rickey, basically the eye of the Billy Ball Hurricane. Had a rookie year that saw him play 158 games out of 162. He hit over 300, had an on-base percentage of .420, stole 100 bases, made the All-Star roster, and even finished in the top 10 of the MVP voting in the American League in his first full season. Of course, many highlights after that. Played 14 of his 25 big league seasons in Oakland, his hometown, including his record-breaking 1982 campaign when he set the record for the most stolen bases in a season with 130. His 1989 ALCS MVP performance was out of this world, and of course, a World Series championship in 1989, and in 1990, the AL MVP award. All of that on the way to a first ballot Hall of Fame induction. It took a minute because Rickey didn't want to stop playing. 25-year career. Hey, nobody's ever played the game with more exuberance, more love for the game, more style, more fun, and more excitement than Rickey Henderson. You know, he got a lot of flack for saying it, but it really was true. He was indeed the greatest. Rickey, number 7. You can score big this NFL season with FanDuel. I want to tell you about this. Watching the football games, are you? Thanksgiving, you get them. America's #1 sportsbook wants you to get into the game. And new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. It's $150 if your team wins. Now, if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, hey, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app's easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, and those include spreads, player props, over and unders, and a whole lot more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and have fun this season with FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Also want to let you know that Locked On has launched its first ever and the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. It's right there on YouTube, Locked On Sports Today. It's here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows that cover every league, like Locked On MLB. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. And now back to the top 10 things that this Oakland A's fan is thankful for. Eggnog. Did I mention that? I'm sorry, is it too early? It probably is, but oh well. Number 6, the pride that the team has given to those of us who call Oakland and the East Bay home. And I have my entire life. Along with the Raiders, the Athletics finally escaped San Francisco's shadow. That's a good feeling. They put Oakland on the map starting in the 1970s. Maverick owner Charlie Finley's swinging A's had a run of success that has rarely been equaled. What a team. Division champions 5 consecutive years, 1971 and 1975. And of course, 3 straight World Series championships in 72, 73, and 74. You know, most experts share the opinion that if it hadn't have been for the advent of free agency and the dismantling of that team, those A's would have probably won 2 or 3 more World Series in the years that followed. They were that good and a true dynasty. That team, plus the 88, 89, and 90 World Series teams, the playoff squads of the 2000s, all of them a major reason why the city and the community became known to so many around the world. They really weren't before, but the A's put them on the map. And no need to be embarrassed anymore, because you know what? The A's made it cool to say, yeah, that's right. I'm from Oakland. Number 5, the innovation that's come from Oakland and the A's over the years, whether it was Charlie Finley's unique promotions like Bat Day and Cap Day and Mustache Day and Hot Pants Day and Bald Headed Day and Charlie O the Mule and Harvey the Ball Rabbit and the fireworks after the A's hit a home run or won a game. Of course, the colorful uniforms, which they still have, as far as I'm concerned, best unis in the game. They had long hair when everybody else had short hair, mustaches and beards when everybody else was clean shaven, white cleats when everybody else wore black. Charlie Finley came up with the idea of the designated hitter. Don't look now, but it's in both leagues still. Nighttime World Series games. Yeah, there was a time where the World Series games were all played during the day. But Charlie thought it was a great idea to get them on TV at night. That way, the kids wouldn't be in school. They could watch the games. And yeah, even a few things that didn't quite stick, like the designated runner. Herb Washington was his name, and it just didn't work. Orange baseball, something else that Charlie tried, and they just said it was hard to pick the ball up. So that was an experiment, and that's about it. But then, of course, later years after that, we invented the bash, and we had the scoreboard dot racing that nobody else had. And that's right, we, along with a little help from Crazy George, invented the wave in the Oakland Coliseum. And of course, drummers out there in the right field bleachers. Hey, chances are good that when it comes to fun at the ballpark, it started in Oakland. The top 10 list of things that I'm thankful for this Thanksgiving as an A's fan. Number 4, well, it has to be our Hall of Famers. Well, we already told you about Rickey Henderson. But what about Catfish Hunter? There's a guy Jim Catfish Hunter out of North Carolina, he would be the one guy you'd want on the mound if you had to win just one game. That guy, the ace, always seeming to rise to an even higher level of performance whenever the A's needed it most. Then, of course, you go to the bullpen and you find Raleigh Fingers and Dennis Eckersley, both the best relief pitchers in the game during their time in Oakland. We had a great manager. His name was Dick Williams. He arrived in 1971 and immediately took a young team with a lot of potential and turned them into legit winners who believed in themselves. The Oakland teams that were managed by Dick Williams, they made the postseason all 3 seasons that he was our skipper. And then, of course, there's that guy, Reggie Jackson, who, despite the fact he's got an NY on his Hall of Fame plaque cap, was actually Mr. October well before he became a Yankee. He started being Mr. October in Oakland, first as a member and the offensive leader on all 3 of the back-to-back World Series champions. Yeah, he played for the A's first. He played for the A's last, and he played for the A's twice as long as he did for the Yankees. So I'm sorry, New York, but Reggie's regiment, it was in the Collie, not the Bronx. Number 3, I'm thankful for the Black Aces, personifying the diversity that is Oakland. The A's were the first Major League Baseball team to have 3 different African-American pitchers out of only 13 that have ever done it to win 20 games in a season. First up, Vida Blue, 1971, 73, and 75, 20-game winner. And then there was Mike Norris. Alvin Dark called him Jeremiah. Mike Norris won 20 in 1980 and certainly put the A's back in the right direction again after a horrible 1979 season. And then, of course, Dave Stewart. Now, Dave didn't just win 20 games once, not just once. No, he did it 4 times, 1987, 88, 89, and 90. Wow. In addition to those great black hurlers, it is worth highlighting excellence of a couple of others. John Blue Moon Odom. Well, all he did was average 13 wins a year from 1968 to 72, racked up 65 wins in the span of those 5 years, and was a key member of the A's starting rotation. And at the ripe old age of 34 and 35, there was Jim Mudcat Grant, working out of the bullpen, wrapping up his career with 2 different stints in Oakland in 1970 and 71. What a record. Combined 7-2 in 87 games, and he saved 27 of those. Now, keep in mind, he had Raleigh Fingers on his team as well. 27 saves, not too shabby. Composite ERA, by the way, of 1.89. Yeah, all 5 of these guys able to overcome adversity and perform at an amazing level at a position that historically bypassed African Americans. Well, not in Oakland. Let's hear it for them. Number 3, the Black Aces. Number 2 on the list of things that this A's fan is thankful for this Thanksgiving. How about the fans? My brothers and my sisters, who have collectively endured the absolute worst owner in the history of the game, an owner who has used them, as far as I'm concerned, as pawns in an effort to unroot the team from its home for 55 years. But you know what? Despite John Fisher, the fan base remains loyal to a fault and has fought valiantly to maintain their multi-generational heirloom in Oakland. They may not be successful, but you can never overlook the love that they have for their team. And I'm with them. They're here, and they are Oakland. And finally, number 1, I am thankful for the A's being such a major part of my life. Starting with there being a safe port in a turbulent childhood sea. No matter how rough things were at home, the A's gave me an escape, something to attach myself to that could give me joy when there just wasn't a whole lot of that around. Hearing those 66th Avenue Coliseum fireworks going off in the distance on those summer nights while I was at our apartment on 74th and MacArthur, lying under the covers, trying to ignore the fireworks that were going off in the next room. The Coliseum was truly my home away from home. It's where we won World Series games. It's where I earned my runaround money, selling peanuts and popcorn and ice cold Cokes here when I was in my teens. It's the place where, after I grew up, I took my kids to, so they could learn the game and root on our team. And it's where I stood at home plate back in 2011, right next to my new bride-to-be. Yet we got married at home plate at the A's game, Nancy and me taking our vows in the House of Thrills. Pretty cool. I'm thankful for the Oakland A's because they are the team that I loved when I was a child, and I still do as a 62-year-old podcast host. And you know what? I always will. Hey, happy Thanksgiving to you and to your family. Here's to a happy and healthy holiday season. I'm Wayne Coy. I want to thank you for making us your first listen every day on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being here. Till next time, keep on swinging.